guys, welcome to Seekho's YouTube channel, and this is the place where we talk about the best careers in town. Whether it's finance, product management, HR, we have got you covered. This is the platform that has helped you going to upskill your talent and your potential like anything else. And today I have some very special guests with me today because we will be talking about the secret sauce behind talent acquisition and HR. How do you build the best team out there? How do you build a team that's going to scale up your startup from 0 to 1? We will be talking about all of this today, and I am so glad to introduce you to who we have here in our cohort. So starting off, we have Swati Khanna. She is the VP of Human Capital at Sequoia. We also have a lot of other guests. Some are founders, some are talent acquisition managers, and we are going to have a very good discussion, and they are going to be spilling their secrets on hiring. So if you are someone who wants a job in startups, this is the place to be. So we have Shruti here from Durian Pay, and we have Vidushi here from Scalar, who are both talent acquisition managers at their companies. And we have some founders here for you too. We have Aditya here from the Goela School of Finance, and we have Darshil here from Blazonion. So welcome everybody, and Swati, I'm going to give you the stage to tell everyone why we are here.
Awesome. So thank you so much, Rishika, and thank you everybody who's here today with us, plus also listening to this podcast. I'll give you a little bit of a story as to why we came up with this startup tab itself. I met Arihant, who's the founder at Seekho, and he got started, as to what can be done in the talent acquisition space and how does the skill gap between what startup founders are looking at from talent acquisition professionals and what is the kind of talent that's available out there. And that's what gave birth to Startup Tab here. So this program here is to give practical advice. Before I go to the advice, the program is designed by the practitioners themselves. So there's a lot of practical advice available, plus there's a lots of hands-on expertise that is also imparted to anybody who's coming on to learn through the program. So while we give you the content, we also give you, exercises that you can work on. So it's live learning that happens here on the sessions. I did like a couple of sessions and I really enjoyed doing those sessions, and we have some really, really strong and solid talent acquisition practitioners who every week come on to the platform and work with I won't say really students, because everybody who's on the sessions today has experience or expertise, and it's not just talent acquisition or recruiters who are coming onto the platform. There are founders as well who are coming to learn how to build their teams. So if you're looking to come in and learn how to build your teams from scratch, or any practices that are required for you to build your teams, please do come in and be part of this cohort that the Seekho team has launched.
Thank you so much, Swati, for that wonderful introduction. And here is how it's going to happen. I have a few questions. These are questions that I've gotten from the TA community. These are questions that are burning challenges right now in the startup ecosystem. And this is something that I would love to hear your opinions from. So I will be asking you some questions here, and I want all of you to pitch in and give me some crazy, nice secrets to hiring. But before we get on with the questions from our community, here is one question that I want to ask you from my side. So in one of our sessions of TAB, we had discussed how talent acquisition and how hiring people is sort of similar to dating, right? You want to find that one person or one team member who is going to be the right partner for you. So what do you think? How do you find that analogy? Do you think that idea resonates with you, that dating is very similar to hiring?
So it's always say, hiring is altogether related to matchmaking, because recruiters and talent acquisition professionals are the spoke in between the hiring managers as well as the candidates. So it's all about what kind of skills the hiring manager is looking and what skills the candidate possess. So it's all about making a right match at a time. So yeah, it is one of the yes, we can say that talent acquisition is directly related to matchmaking thing. So
what I would say here is that I look at talent acquisition like a team, right? So there's a football, there's a team of 11 players. And that is what talent acquisition is, that you're the coach as a founder and your 11 players are out there. You're not allowed to go out. You're just in that box. The real action has to be taken by those people. And you have to find the right person for that right spot, because if out of those 11, even one person does not perform as they should, then actually the full team can come down. So I really look at it from that perspective.
I think the analogy quite stands strong. There are some people who are there just for the experience. There are some people who are there to actually look for marriage for long term in some sense. So I think the analogy definitely works. You have to be ready for no shows. You have to be ready, and you have to make it work together. So I think that's pretty accurate.
The only parallel I strongly feel is most common is you end up looking for a perfect person, a perfect candidate first. The idea is to reduce disappointments by keeping your expectations very simple in sense, like you should have one mandatory thing that you want in a candidate or in a partner, to give you a parallel. And then similarly, like go about it. The minute you just put a perfection and you close, a lot of opportunities and close the doors to the right people. So yeah, need to have that flexibility, I think.
Swati, what do you think?
Yeah. So I think this was one of my sessions itself that said that, it's hiring is equivalent to, definitely matchmaking, or even, why I would say analogy of dating really resonates here is because, I'm sure anybody who's interviewing candidates, there's this first instinct whenever you have that conversation, you either really like somebody or you don't like somebody. Right. And I think dating also is more or less like that. You either really like that person in the first date or you don't. If you like the person, then, you continue dating them and then you make a final decision, right? Whether you're going to continue the relationship or not. And similarly in recruiting also, if you like the first date, you go on subsequent dates and then you finalize whether, this is the person with whom you want to build a relationship or not. So yeah, I think everything has to align. And that's when the right matches are made. And many times it's also serendipity, it's luck, it's it's your destiny or combination of all of those other cosmic influences that take place, and that's when the right match happens. So yes, very much aligned with everybody here.
I think you also look for red and green flags while we're hiring, as we do when we're dating also.
Well, red and green flags happen after dating, after marriage also. So that's.
But here's my question. So moving on to my next question, here is one that we've got from the community. A lot of times we've heard that startups or even big companies are looking for people from top tier colleges or, the best colleges out there. Do you also find that idea similar to how you work? Do you think you find the best people in best colleges, or do you think it's an open field for opportunity?
So see, I think it depends on the nature of the roles that you're going after. If your role requires you to, and your top tier colleges, or if why you're going after top tier colleges is because it's a great elimination criteria, right? And that's probably at the beginning of the career journey, or when you're looking at hiring folks, early on in their careers, you might do that. But as you progress, or as you look at people who are experts in their specific fields, I don't think that really matters anymore. Like, I don't really come from a top tier college or any fancy college. I'm sure there are many other people who don't really come from fancy colleges. What you build yourself out in your career, or the kind of expert that you become in your career, is sort of propels you to get to your next best opportunity. So I think it's situational. For a certain kind of roles, you might want to go after folks from certain kind of a background. But while for a certain other set of roles, that might not be a requirement. But it's not a deal breaker for me.
Very much aligned what Swati said. It's all about skills and like the kind of hustle the person has, irrespective from which background they are coming from. So skills matters a lot, and like what the role is. So it totally depends. So it's not mandatory that only tier one colleges or so is always given a preference.
I'd like to add one point here. Agree with what Swati had to say, Vidushi had to say about this. Even we don't follow the same, not obsessed with tier one colleges. What I've seen though in my past experience with a startup, They, just to give you an example, they preferred someone from a top college only for BD roles because they needed someone very polished, very confident, someone who's been very active with, let's say, debating society, can negotiate really well. And that's one time that I've seen my founders being very, very particular. But for everything else, I have not seen. I have even hired someone like a 12th class pass only. And he is mentors to top India YouTubers today. His name is Manish Pandey. You can Google. And even today, that one of the best engineers that we have is not really from a BTech background in the company. So then really skills go in the long run. But yes, I think companies should not also be very, this is my opinion, companies should not be hard and fast that we want tier one only, this is the brand that we want to maintain. I think basis on the role criticality and actually skills required, that should be the criteria,
Yeah.
not just being obsessed, just that we hire the best talent and then we need people from best colleges. That's not cool.
Yeah, what are the founders going to say here? Darshil, Aditya.
Yeah, I'll just add something onto it. A lot of startups are exactly averse that idea. We've, in our experience, always seen people who are self-learned to be much more hardworking and much more enthusiastic and proactive towards things. And we usually don't keep a criteria for the colleges simply because you alienate a lot of good talent out there. And I think as a overall industry trend, we are moving more and more towards skill based rather than CV based, and that's something I think even big companies are adopting.
I completely agree with Darshil. I think he's absolutely on point with it. Specifically for our team, we really don't see any qualification as such. I mean, of course, at times we do, but overall, the main focus is about the skill and does the person want to learn, and our goals align. If I can get the work and the ultimate job that a person wants to do in life, or ultimate goal he wants to achieve, if he becomes a part of my company, if that goal will be helped by my company in some way, then I think that's a strong criteria I have, at least.
I think really interesting perspectives, and it really gives hope to a lot of people who are watching this right now who are not in the top tier colleges, because we know that startups are going to give us the opportunity we want. And we truly agree at Seekho as well. We are very skill focused. Like, we help people build the relevant industry skills rather than work just on their education and their college. So really there with all of you, and I'm really excited by your opinions. So another question from our community is asking you one of your top secrets to hiring, exactly and literally. They want to know, what is that one strategy that you use to actually build your applicant pool, to build your talent pool? How do you get the candidates out there? What's the number one strategy that has always worked for you?
We should hear from the founders first.
For
How do
me-
founders do it?
Yeah, so I actually come from the creator space. So we are pretty heavy on social media. So social media, specifically YouTube, works really well for us. Plus email marketing. We have a very big email community. And I think that is a good source to get one thing. So email community is one thing.
I'll speak on behalf of a lot of companies. Referrals is number one that we actually see as the biggest strategy to hire. Every single person in the team actually putting out the word that we're looking for someone. You actually get quality candidates, people who are in the network of people who are working here, which is one of the biggest ways. Another thing that we do in the creative field is to challenge the candidates who are applying. Most of the digital agencies do find this as an interesting approach. At the same time, we get more applicants when we do that. A lot of people who don't want to apply normally, who are not looking for opportunities, also feel like they want to prove their mettle and take that on as a challenge. So that's an interesting way we use as well.
For me,
Okay.
LinkedIn's worked wonders.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, Shruti.
For me, somehow LinkedIn has worked wonders. Back then, when I was in a broadcast media firm startup, that time I think Facebook groups did a lot of magic, and campus placements. So it depends on each role that I'm hiring for. But currently, for software and other roles, LinkedIn, of course, referrals, no brainers there.
Similarly, LinkedIn plays a very major role, both for tech and non-tech. But I guess when it comes to non-tech, LinkedIn recruiter account, and even like if we are posting something from our personal handles also. So like if we are like creating a buzz around our personal branding, so through that also many candidates apply. So it's all about, it's more like that, how we are, like how much we are active on LinkedIn and what kind of content we are creating, and accordingly we get uh, leads. Not like not only related to one specific role, but if in general people are looking out, so they directly reach out to us. So yes, LinkedIn is one of the major platform.
Right,
Sorry,
interesting.
sorry, I just forgot to add AngelList to the list. Maybe she can add that. AngelList has worked wonders. We've got more than 100 applications. It actually is time consuming to filter those, whereas earlier it was all about the reach out. So AngelList is another addition.
Sounds great,
In fact,
Swati.
like,
Yeah, Vidushi.
in fact, like IIM jobs is one of the very effective tool for like senior manager or manager roles. So if you post a job over there also, so like you can get a good quality leads from there itself. So LinkedIn and IIM jobs both.
Great, sounds good.
Interesting.
Your point of view here.
I'm a little old school there. I think for me, search starts from doing, research. And I think like once you have your criteria is very clearly etched out, and then researching and figuring out which is through social channels. I usually use LinkedIn X-ray search. If you've not used it, please go ahead and just Google LinkedIn X-ray search. And if you create your Boolean searches, it gives you like some really good hits initially to go after. That's one way of, at least like figuring out your first few set of right candidates and then bouncing them off with your hiring teams. That's one. But like when I said old school, I think I'm old school from networking perspective. Some of my best candidates have come through my networks or even referrals. So whether it's generating for folks who are in-house recruiters, it's either generating referrals through, your own team members, but best is to generate referrals through every other person that you have a conversation with, especially high potential talent, senior candidates. And believe me, the best hires I've made have been the ones who've been referred to me, because many of your passive candidates and the ones who sort of, sit under the radar, don't really want to be on job portals, will surface through this approach. So my go-to always has been, networking, referrals, uh, definitely all the other channels that everybody's, referred to, which is LinkedIn, AngelList, IIM jobs. But then all of that is situational. One is, yes, using your own go-to approach, but the second is also having that ability to be agile and then adjusting to based on the kind of search that you're doing, and then tackling or going after those specific channels and getting candidates from there. Recruiting partners also work wonders. Whenever there's a need or requirement, I would rather suggest that also go after some of these specialized recruiting partners who can quickly get you connected to the right talent pool, because they already will have relationships. Especially senior level hiring only works on relationships. It's very hard for you to go and start searching for people and then get them to have a conversation with you. Yeah, so it's a multi-channel approach. Use it based on what you're going after.
One point to build on top of the first point Swati said is we've actually started talking to each and every candidate we interview and tell them we have these openings. If you know anyone to refer.
Yes.
It's surprising how many people have actually come through to us through that.
Yeah, that's like the best. I tell, even if people are, even if there are no open roles or anybody who's looking out and the person is really good, please feel free to connect them to me. I just have these proactive conversations all the time. In fact, 50% of my conversations are proactive.
Okay, that was really great. And I think we've received the 3 places where all candidates need to be now: LinkedIn, YouTube, and Swati's network. So, but here's one interesting point that Vidushi pointed out, and I wanted your opinion on it. She said something about personal branding, how people are more excited when you have a personal brand, and maybe that increases your applicant pool. Do you think having a personal brand, especially as founders for the both of you, does that work in getting good candidates?
I think it really does. Honestly, at Goela School of Finance, we both of us, me and my brother, are co-founders. We are basically focused on our personal brand only. So this really helps us. How? Because we get the candidates who really want to work with us. And if we, any out of that pool, if we get anyone who has the right skill and who we can match with, so I think we have a really winning candidate there. So that really helps us to for sure.
Sounds good, Darshil.
Yeah, I think it's a good pull strategy. If I am to put it in the same analogy as dating, it's like you're the famous person and everyone wants to date you. So that works.
I think sounds like a really fair answer. And we are all here on YouTube right now. So if anyone wants to work with any one of you, please put it in the comment section below. And I think this is a good way to increase our network as well. So this question really helped the HRs and the TAs in the community. But I have a question that will help us applicants also. And here is one question that we all want to ask you. What do you look for in the candidate? What is that one trait for you that's going to get me selected when I'm interviewing at your place?
For us, like we've realized this over a period of time, we used to never go very intrinsic about what is it, what's that spark that really makes us tick. But analyzing a lot of people that we have recruited, the best ones that have come have shown proactiveness before recruitment. The people who reach out from their own side, who make sure they are actually constantly in touch with us, following up with us, those are the kind of people who are actually going to be proactive once they have come into the organization also. So one of the most difficult things, even when we're working from home, that we see as the biggest quality in people are the people who are proactive. So that's one of the biggest criteria for us.
For me specifically, I think those are those candidates who really feel the same way how I do for my mission of my company.
I like to talk to people actually who don't work on autopilot mode. They should know what they're doing and why they're doing. The why is really important.
Something, like startups is all about like hustleness, fast-paced environment, and like if the person is aligned with the motive and they are ready to work. So the last thing which we focus on that how much the candidate is ready to take the challenges.
I think that's really interesting, and what I've gathered from all your points is that these are also the type of people who help you scale your startup, right? People who are ready to ask questions, people who are showing the proactiveness and the initiative to actually understand the problems, then trying to solve them. And even if they fail, that's all right, but they want to solve something. They're gritty, they are there, and they are constantly there at every step of the way through the startup's growth. And these are the people who eventually will help you get from 0 to 1 in your startups, right? But really interesting thoughts and ideas from all of you. And, just us gathering here and talking about what you need from applicants, what HR should know, what TAs should know, really is going to help people who are just starting off either as an HR or as someone else, but people who are really building their companies. So thank you so much for being here. It was indeed a lovely conversation. And if any of you, all of us watching here, if you have any questions for our panelists, put it in the comment box below and we will be bringing another episode to you soon where we will answer your questions. If you like this video, then please press the like button and don't forget to share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Swati, Shruti, Aditya, Darshil, and Vidushi. It was a great time, and I hope to see you soon again.